of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place we ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize, Creole and Garifuna.
Good morning, pleasant good morning. Here we are once again to do daily devotion. It's a beautiful day outside. When I see the report coming out of Belize City that the Chinese stores are actually opening up the chicken sausage and selling them single, I know something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. We go to the stores and he was talking about those stores that will overcharge. And the system was trying to balance it by what has been done, applying laws and all those things. There's some employers who cheat the employees out of salaries, don't pay them what they're supposed to be paid, and expect them to give 150%. That also is a blunder. Why am I saying all of this? Because what we're going to see it in Malachi. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. And I want to look at the beginning of chapter 3 from 1 to 5. But what I want to focus now is what we find in verse 5. It says, I will come to put you on trial. I will come to put you on trial. I will be quick to testify against sorcerers. You see that? These are the sins that put the people at odds with God. Witchcraft, which is something that is embedded in our culture. Our people are quick to go and see the witch doctor when something is wrong. Adulterers, see, again, this is something that is rampant in society today. When I said it on one of these, I posted something on Facebook, and one of my colleagues, one of my friends said, how do I know? Man, the amount of people that have AIDS in this country and growing. Perjurers, people lie as if though it has no consequence. They perjure themselves under oath. People go to court and tell lies. People tell lies just to get out of things. People tell lies. The con artists is like a game. People spend time in trying to find a way to, not only in their own country, but across the world, to steal from people who may not understand and who might be trying to make a buck. Against those who defraud laborers of their wages. And I want to stay on this one a little bit. Against those who defraud laborers of their wages. You may not have known before that when you steal people's sweat, as we put it, that is something that is on the short list. It's on the short list. What he's saying here is, I will come to put you on trial. I will be quick to testify against. He says this, against those who defraud laborers of their wages. People work, people don't want to give them the right salary. They don't want to give them no holidays. They make them work during the holidays and don't pay them extra. People pay them extremely low salaries. He'll take back 4 from you. And I said, just do the maths. Do the maths. It's not like the police has to see you. This is God seeing you and God bringing down justice on you as a consequence of what you do. So you take one from me, but God take four from you. How can that be something that makes any sense? Does not make sense, because you're going to lose much more than you think you gain. It might very well be in the health of your loved ones, in your health, the death of a loved one. All those kind of things will happen because you have decided to go against the word of God. He's saying here, just before the coming of Christ, that he's going to come swiftly against those people. And God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I think that has changed. That has not changed. He's going to come swiftly. If he found these things to be so problematic, you think he's not seeing the same thing today? He says, who oppress the widows and fatherless, orphans. It said the real test of your Christianity is how you treat widows and orphans. That's a real test of your Christianity. How you treat widows and orphans, people who don't have anybody to defend them, and deprive the foreigners among you of justice. Deprive the foreigners among you of justice. Say, but do not fear me, says the Lord Almighty. These people do not fear God. The list that we have here, we have sorcerers, we have adulterers, we have perjurers, people who steal people's wages, those who oppress the widows and fatherless, and those who deprive the foreigners of justice. God said you don't fear him. And as we look at all these things this morning, I urge you, if you are violating any of these things in any form or fashion, I urge you to make sure that you do what you ought to do, that you will not find yourself in judgment as a consequence of what you're doing. If you continue to live lives like that, you are going to be in problems. Why? Because God is going to come quickly and judge you. So look at your life and see what you're doing. And if any way you're violating that list, I urge you, be careful, because God is going to come for you and make sure that you straighten up things. The same way he hated it back in the day when this was done before the coming of Christ, he hates it the same way today.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place we ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place we ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace.
Say Cyber Realty and Development is the leader in providing solutions to the current land crisis in Belize. For homeowners and investors alike, Cyber Realty is offering special deals on half-acre parcels in its new Emery Village development. Enjoy prime land off Mile 37 on the George Price Highway at an unbeatable price. All you need is the initial down payment of $275 Belize dollars. Take advantage and reserve your half-acre home sites today. Emery Village. Join the community. Invest in your future.
Blessed Gardens is servicing home gardens across the country from the nation's capital and helping Belizeans reconnect with nature. We have everything you need for your home garden, so get growing. We have various types of soils: fortified soil, composted soil, potting soil, and pure compost for your garden. We have quality seeds and over 65 varieties of food seedlings for your garden. We even have organic insecticides available, EM soil treatment, and Polyshade for your excessive sun or rain. Blessed Gardens has all your garden solution in one location. Call 610-5679. Visit us at the Bumapan Market Plaza or enjoy our free deliveries across the country. Blessed Gardens. Get growing, Belize.
Are you hosting an event for your school, church, business meeting, conference, private function, and are in need of a PA system? Then call 610-5679 and have one thing less to worry about. Get your video, audio, lights, songs, and a family-oriented DJ needs met at one great price. Call us today at 610-5679 and let the show begin.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I live?
Joining us on this beautiful Tuesday morning. It is the 20th of May. It's our first program for this week. I don't think we had a show yesterday. I had to cancel out. Brother Fem was here, ready to go, but I had to cancel out, and I will explain why. It became an extremely busy day for me because of the committee meeting at the George Price Center for Peace and Development. In that committee meeting, the Family Bill 2025 was discussed, and the committee opened itself up, as is the norm for any piece of legislation to come back to the legislature. It has to first go to committee. And at committee, that is where the general public, organizations, institutions can come in and speak on any bill. So yesterday was an important day as the Council of Churches and NIAB made presentations, and I was there to sit in, to hear the complaints, the good and the bad, that the church, the two organizations that I primarily represent, what their thoughts were on the bill. And so it was a long day. I think we finished after 5 p.m. And if you think it was a long day for me, after I left, there was still another presentation that the committee had to listen to. Yeah, another presentation. And so I left early in the morning and could not do the program. That will happen from time to time, but I do appear on Rise and Shine Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and I will continue to do so as best as I am able to provide you, our Belizean public, with opinions on what's taking place in our country in all the different sectors. And so I apologize that we were not able to hold a show yesterday, but we are able to have one today. Well, let's take a look. Let's start by taking a look at the weather. We're still having some beautiful days, even though we are in the second to the last week. Next week is going to be the last week for the month of May. End of next week is Agriculture and Trade Show. So people are buying their soil right now to prepare for the plants that they are going to buy. Some people, as I said, they do their gardening in the dry weather. Some people do it in the wet weather and make God water the plants. And as long as you don't have too much rain, right? I think last year in October, we did experience a lot of rain that messed up some people's garden, including mine. But I'm getting back on track with my garden. It's getting back slowly. And I trust that, well, a lot of people are getting their soil from us, 610-5679. You can get your soil. We're delivering soil much of this week. Belize City, here in Belmopan, and the surrounding areas of Belize City. So please let me know your order so that we can facilitate you with our soil. But the sun is out. You don't want to be getting soil when the rains have come. The first few days, maybe a couple of weeks when it starts to rain, the soil is so dry that it can absorb some of the moisture. But then after that, it can be too much moisture if we don't protect and keep our soil dry and protected. So we try our best to do that, but get your, this is the best time to manipulate the soil how you want it in whatever form you need it. So the general situation for today is for warm and dry conditions to continue to prevail. And for the next 24 hours, you can expect mostly sunny skies. Today and tonight, the skies will be clear to partly cloudy with little or no rainfall expected. Marine conditions, winds are blowing from the east at 10 to 20 knots with sea state moderate and waves 4 to 6 feet. Temperature, now inland it is going to be 101. 101, my fellow Belizeans, which means that we really need to hydrate, stay in the shade if you can, etc. The low will be 75, which is not a problem, but on the coast, 91 degrees will be the high with 82 as the low, and in the hills, 85 is expected as the high with 68 as the low. I did not look at the weather report yesterday, but I can assure you that the 101 that we will get today is the highest that I have read for this year. The outlook for Wednesday and Wednesday night is for similar weather conditions to prevail. And so, because the maximum temperatures will exceed 97 degrees today, residents, especially those inland, are advised to stay hydrated and avoid outdoor activities as much as possible, especially during the afternoon hours. So that is our weather report for today. Let's take a look at the comments made yesterday. There are several things that we want to take a look at, but I want to now continue with yesterday's proceedings. So, when the government read when the Prime Minister read his budget speech last Monday, the budget speech gives an idea of what government wants to accomplish, because what you empower financially will determine what you are going to do. So you can see government's priorities based upon the amount of money that is assigned to each ministry. Now, the government has made it very clear that 45% goes to salaries, and that if the teachers and public servants get their raise, it will be about $70 million added on to the budget, which was already calculated, which is going to take up our budget to the point where half of the money that government will spend will go directly to paying salaries. That is salaries for teachers, public servants, the BDF, Coast Guard, the police department, etc. Custom officers, immigration officers, these are all paid from the public purse. So the last Monday, that presentation was made, and then 2 weeks from them, which is the coming week, we will expect the debates to begin. The leader of the opposition, she will rise and she's going to give her response to the Prime Minister's speech, after which the debate is going to proceed on the budget. So after the House debates the budget, then it goes to the Senate. And at the Senate level, there is also a debate on the budget before the budget is passed and moves for signing, and then the new financial year begins. Now, of course, the new financial year begins on the 1st of April, and we are already completing May. So monies are being spent in the process, but projects are not empowered financially to move forward until that new budget is approved, and then things are going to move fast again. But at that very same budget speech that the Prime Minister gave, there were several other bills that were introduced, and I want to read those bills for you. And these bills include the Magistrates Court Bill, the Belize Building Amendment, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Bill, customs and excise duties. Of course, the revenue appropriation bill, which is really the budget. And then there is a bill that was called the Families Bill 2025 that was also got when it was introduced, which means then that these bills were sent to committee. So a couple of committees met yesterday, and the Families Bill, the committee that is responsible for that met yesterday, and that is why, as I said, presentations were made. With that, let me say good morning to my Tuesday morning co-host, Kerm Timbrell. Kerm, good morning to you, and welcome to Rise and Shine.
Yes, good to be back, Louis. I was away for a while. You know, my daughter.
Your daughter graduate, right?
Yes. So
I watched this picture and I said, man, I remember when your daughter got studied. She already has a degree. Wow, congratulations.
Yes, yes.
So
thank you.
I said, like, man, time flies.
Time flies, man, and I'm just so thankful that she's doing so well, you know, like just a focused young lady, just really. I have no problem with my daughter, Lois. I thank God for that, you know, and just really, she excelled. You know, some cum laude she graduated with, and really focused, really. What blew my mind was the fact that when I got there, like, she was so well connected with the professors. They all knew her personally. They loved her. That just blew my mind. This young lady is just really.
Summa cum laude is the highest praise.
That's right.
And knowing the professors meant that she stood out.
That's right.
And she represented not just the Timbrell family, she represented all of Belize very well.
That's right.
Very good. Yeah. So congratulations on that.
Yes, well, thank you, man. So that, you know, sometimes
she moves on, she comes home, she continues.
The valley of decision, you know.
It's the valley of decision, yeah.
Right now, it's either, she has a year to either work or go back and do her master's, and so that's where we are right now. Yeah. It's not cheap, Louis,
I
but
know. We're getting ready to embark on that journey ourselves for a second son. So, but God provides, and it's tough provision.
Louis, she went to Oral Roberts, you know. It's a faith-based university, and I would say to any Belizean, if you can make it happen, that's where you want to send your son or your daughter, because Louis, my daughter, was not just prepared intellectually, but, you know, in terms of who she is, her character as a person, you know, her faith, her integrity, all those things were taught. It's a holistic approach to a person's development, and so that really blew my mind as well, like just how strong she is in her faith, and just I'm just so impressed with the university.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, because yesterday we spent the time. Scott was there, Pastor Santi was there, because as I was just giving the introduction, that the committee met to discuss the Families Bill.
Okay.
And what you are talking about is family. Family is the bedrock of civilization.
That's right.
It's the bedrock of society. God said it's not good for a man to be alone when he created man, created woman for man, and together they became a family, and then out of that came Cain and Abel and Seth and many more sons and daughters, the Bible says. So family is the first institution.
Yeah.
Family precedes the state. Before there was the state of Belize, families exist. Before the first state existed, family pre-existed. It's the unit basic building block. And so you are talking about looking after your daughter. She's your oldest daughter. You have a daughter and a son. And you made big decisions as to where your daughter will be educated. Your daughter will be educated at a Christian school.
Yep.
And you're saying that that decision was not an easy decision, because first of all, you know, not wanting to talk to about your daughter too much, but she lived a life where both parents are in the house.
Yes.
She excelled while in country, you know, and then you had to make a big decision to remove her from under your wings, and to make that decision to say, we think you will thrive better at a Christian university in the United States.
And she did, Louis. She just blew my mind. Like but God took me back further, and maybe like even as we look in the country, because we can pass all kind of laws and bills and whatever we want to pass, but if that basic building block is not in place, our society is going to crumble.
Right.
We see what's happening in Belize City with all of the crime, and then of course the crazy rulings from the courts that happened this past week or last week, whenever it was. Louis, when my wife got pregnant, I asked my wife to resign her job. It was a tough decision. And she thought about it, and 9 months later she says, that's it. But today we see the fruits in the lives of our children. We made some huge sacrifices. And when she graduated, I was thinking about that, you know, and just looking at what brought Bethany to this point, because she's just, to me, an extraordinary young woman. Like, really, really focused. My nephew came to the graduation, and I was listening to him talking in the car with another young lady who was also in university. He was telling this young lady that my dad had inspired him to be in university right now, you know, and just, I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize her influence was going out that far, but Bethany is a leader. She's a leader, and I believe, Louis, is because we focus on family, and so I'm saying it in the context of the family's bill. What kind of bills are we creating? Is it bills that focus on the nuclear family?
Exactly.
Because we need the nuclear family to be in place. If you want success for a nation, it's the nuclear family. It's no other warped design or concept. I'm not sure. I wasn't here. I didn't hear the bill.
Every other duplication, like it's like made in China versus the authentic original that comes out of the factory of those who engineered it. Like, you can tell the difference between a Makita that comes from China and a Makita that it got the same brand on it, the same everything, but it does not last.
Has quality control.
Long. Yeah, the original Makita, the original. It's a attempt at duplicating, but it's not the same. Now, there is the nuclear family, there is the natural family, which is the children that are born out of the natural.
That's right.
They progress from the natural relationship between a biological man and a biological woman in a marriage union. Like, that is number one. It doesn't mean that the children are better, but it means that the children will perform better.
That's right.
Because we all have the same value, but the value system of the nuclear family preserves and produces the best results. The children are growing up seeing mom love dad. That love is displayed in front of the children. The children see a father figure that they can emulate. In the case of the boy, he emulates the father. The girl emulates the mother. And then the girl also receives strength and protection from the father. So there's something that the father gives both to the boy child and the girl child, which is different than what the mother gives the boy child and the girl child. And so our government should protect first of all the nuclear family. And then we recognize that because of a fallen world, there are single family that for various reasons, there are single families. A a mother is forced to raise her children. In the world today, some mothers choose to be single, right? But there is that missing element. Now, in our Belizean culture and in the Caribbean culture, we have an extended family culture, right?
Yes.
When we say timbrel, that's a very strong family bond, right? Same thing for Wales,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So we are meeting at Christmas and Easter and New Year's, and you know,
sometimes weekly. Sometimes big Tuesday night to the meet.
Right. So and the extended family, the extended family is a place where children are able to.
But they get an identity.
Yes, they get their identity.
Security.
And,
you know. And,
I think we have a call. Yeah. Can we take that call? Call, good morning. Good morning, caller.
I tend to want to agree with you with that scope of analyzing. When you grow up with mother and father love, and when you grow up with mother and father caring but in distance, there are different sort of discipline. I have that experience. I would not say with myself, but I have used my feeler gauge as I live within society. The true thing, when you grow up with one mother and father, and worse, and much so when you go to a elite church, you know, now and again, and visit different functions together, then yes, you grow up in a different maturity. Take care, my friends.
Thank you very much. So we are saying that there is a best model.
Of course.
We are saying there is a best model. We are not going to apologize or back down from the fact that the nuclear family, the natural family is the best model, and that we encourage every person as they're moving from childhood into youth and moving from youth into adulthood to aspire for the best model, because that model produces the best results. It does not mean that children who are not born inside that system, they are of less value. Every child, every human being is of equal value to God. However, you want to choose the model that produces the best results. So that's what you are explaining, Kerm, when you sit and you are so proud of the accomplishments of your daughter, and you see that she not only grew academically, but she grew spiritually. She grew in every area as a well-rounded individual. So you know that she will contribute to the world. She will make you proud. She's going to help build beliefs. There's so many benefits. So we all benefit. Like when I saw her, like when I saw her in that graduation regala, you know, it was like, yes, right? I felt the pride myself because we know that she's well formed.
Yes, she is, Lois, and I thank God, you know, that, you know, it's when you choose God's design, right? Like, I think maybe what we're discussing here this morning is that man want to choose their own design, you know? Man want to create or recreate. They want to put forward their ideas in terms of how things should be, and it will never produce the result that they so desire, right? All of this trial and error. When we look in nations that has adopted these models, we see that it became problematic. When you look in the United States, I tell you, I am a Trump lover. You might be angry at me. It's okay to be angry at people. I might be one of them. It's okay. I'm a Trump lover. Because when I look at the policies and the laws with Donald Trump, they pass. They reintroduced the fact that teachers can discipline children. But they're disciplining and they come in at the school with the gun, Lois.
Yeah.
You understand? My daughter, when she graduated, was offered immediately a job to go teach in the public school system. All kind of orphan benefits. Why? Because the Americans don't want to teach. They don't want to teach because the children are problematic.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now they're importing teachers.
Right.
We know of a
Yeah,
friend of
many
ours
teachers,
who
yeah, yeah.
has
Many
gone to the
teachers
United
from Belize
States
are over there.
because the Americans don't want to teach.
Yeah.
Because the model that they use
Correct.
have not worked.
Yeah. You see,
You cannot discipline the children. You know, Louis, it's
and
just
then
crazy.
Parents who love their children, when that family unit is there, then the finances are there, they can say, I'm not going to send my child here, I'm going to put my child in a private school
Exactly.
where they can be disciplined,
That's
etc.
right.
And so more and more you will have a separation between the quality of children who have that full support family system versus the one that does not. No, there are always exceptions to the rule. A single parent will say, well, I raised my picnic on my own and my child is doing well.
Praise
yes,
God.
praise God.
Yes.
The problem is that that is the exception
Right.
rather than the norm. Meanwhile, in the nuclear family, it is the norm rather than the exception.
That's
you
right.
see, so again, the model is extremely important. And so there is family, there is extended family, right? And so in the Caribbean, granny and grandpa, granny comes to live home, live across the street, brother, sister living in the general area. So you are not going to send your child anyway, but you could send her under mommy. You could send her when mommy get old, when daddy get old, they could come to live, or if somebody they drop in every day. This is your Caribbean system. The American system is extremely individualized.
Ooh.
They will pack you up now and send you off to the retirement home.
That's right, old folks home.
The old folks home, as opposed to our culture, right? And so we also have to ensure that our laws on family reflect the Belizean aspiration, first of all. The Belizean aspiration. And the aspiration should be the best kind of family for Belize.
Yes.
We are not going to discriminate against the single family. We are going to support them so that that child can have the best life ever, which is why I didn't mind being a part of the housing project. For the last 5 years, I didn't say it a lot, but I was a part of that committee that screened people to get houses. I can't guarantee you that 100% of, you know, but I can say for the most part that there was an attempt to try to ensure that those who need it get it, and I was a part of that.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yes,
I said that long time ago.
Yes, all those houses that you see across the country, every single one of them has a story, and I was there to hear the story and to put my name beside it and say, I approve this. And to say, this one, I'm sorry, I don't think that this qualifies. So,
that's good.
You know, so that's why PUPs got homes, UDPs got homes, non-aligned people got home. So some people went, they didn't go to a politician, they went straight to the website, download the application, filled it out, and they are today living in a house. Now, it needs more funding and there's more to be done. But I can assure you that every attempt was made for that.
That's good.
Now, the idea is also that you get a house, now you can begin to climb. You dignity has been placed there for the poor. You get into something, and many people have taken those little units and then don't add bathroom and so on, and then you still have the one day when you even want to pay the $100 a month. You do, Kerm.
What?
$100 a month for 10 years. So that's $1,200 in a year. In 12 years, you're only paying $12,000 for a house. And some people done this.
No way.
I know they did. Yes. So you can take a horse to the water, but you can't force them to drink. But the idea is that it elevates a person out of poverty, and you see that there is value in your life, and you can move on. So we fully support any government that is seeking to strengthen families. And to move them forward. But the thing is that the mentality also has to change for poverty. The mentality for to have picnic here, there, and everywhere must change.
Yeah.
The man who marries to one wife and builds a home, all of the resources are concentrated right in that place.
Yeah.
But the man who is having picnic all over the place, the woman then the swan, then part of your salary they go so. Part they go so, part they go so. You have no control over what happens with those finances, and because those finances are going in multiple places because you can't keep your zipper up, you are prescribing poverty not only to yourself because your money is not concentrated where it can build, but you are also creating poverty for your children that are out there scattered because they cannot get the resources because some of the resources as opposed to a family unit where all the resources are.
Sound like confusion to me, Louis.
Yeah, it is.
What they're doing is counterproductive to the advancement of our society.
Yeah.
You know, but Louis, you know, I didn't, unfortunately, because I was not here, I was not able to tune into the debate this year, and that's something very important for me and for most Belizeans, you know. But I heard a bit about that bill, and I heard, you can correct me if I'm wrong this morning, that it seeks to empower people to be able to adopt children. Or 2 male, I think it, I don't.
Yeah, like a single male that is 21 years old. A single male that is 21 years old will now qualify to adopt a child.
Yeah, in a society like this.
Yeah, and then it doesn't say like a relative.
Yeah.
A relative.
Yeah.
So I believe that the relative is extremely important.
Yeah.
That I can see sometimes where an older sister, sometimes that's a mother figure within the home, and that daughter might say, I want this child. Yeah. Right? I want this child. Because there's this what are the word? Dysfunction. Yeah. Where there is dysfunction, right? But I turned towards my son and I said, son, do you think you're ready to adopt a child? He said, my youngest son is 21 years old. Yeah. I have an older son that's 23 years old, and I hope I got their age right.
Starting to lose track.
Yeah, my 2 younger sons don't qualify to raise nobody. They're barely raising themselves. And so I have a major problem with that. Yeah. Not only that, but it does open the door to perversion. It does. Perversion, and that's the part right there that the church has a problem with. Yeah. And I think that any sensible person would have a problem where it can't just remain open. Yeah. There has to be in law the specifications that accompany that. Number one, it needs to be like the last case scenario. Yeah. But it needs to be a relative as far as I'm concerned, because a 21-year-old.
But even a relative, you know, that like it makes you wonder the train of thought. How did we come up with this? Why did this become important? Because if we want to build, well, let me go before we build. If we analyze, if we look at data, I'm looking at the news, so many men are being charged today in our news with child molestation.
Exactly.
Now we are going to create a law that opens the door for those men to bring those kids into their homes
and single
legally.
So nobody else knows today.
Single. I mean, I'm trying to understand the train of thought. How did we come up with this? Because this is going to be a recipe for a disaster.
So the church flagged it as a pro-gay LGBTQIA door.
That's
Do you
right.
agree with that?
110%.
All right. Very
And I have
good.
not spoken to anybody, but
Yeah.
from my side,
Yeah.
I realized, wait a minute, this is
Yeah.
pro LGBTQ.
You
This
could
is
buy a whole
this
leaflet
is pro
name.
P Daddy P Diddy Q.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're hearing it. I don't know if you're following what's happening in the courts right now with the case with P Diddy.
Yes.
When you hear the disturbing things that lodge in the mind of that individual, Louis, to me, it should help us to be able to see what's behind this whole LGBTQ agenda.
And I don't think that it is sufficient for a politician or government official to say, oh yeah, but the courts are not going to put a child into the into the hands of a predator. Well, let's write that down. Let's put that in law. So I don't believe that you should leave legislation open for distinguished judges to interpret.
Yeah.
I believe you lock it down.
Yeah.
Lock it down. So for example, a social worker may say, yeah, the reason why we want to include 21-year-old single persons is because there are cases where the person who qualifies is a relative and we want to keep the child as close as possible to the relative. So we would say, we understand that is a rare case.
That's right.
So why not write it like that?
That's right.
Why not write it like that? Why leave it open where a rare case creates a law that normalizes a situation?
Of course.
You see? So we know that the LGBTQIA community use children as a milepost of how they are coming along in a society.
Of course they do.
But that should never be the reason for legislation. It is the safety of the child. And I believe that it is to be legislated in such a way that the judges themselves will not open the interpretation.
Of course.
Because the social worker, if you are saying that there are these rare cases, then the law needs to be written to ensure that it will continue to be a rare case that qualifies with the safety of the child.
Of course, and Louis, a predator is not a predator until they are caught.
Exactly.
And by that time,
the
damage has been done.
Already done. Right.
The damage has been done, and so you can't open the door and put a child. I want to ask whoever wrote the law.
Well, I was going to say, because, before we continue, this person said we need a new, clear definition of family. So George Price did so in Kings Park, big house, bigger than those built now. All these houses are eyesores. They have not made any progress. Still without fence, still without garbage inside, deteriorated house. Many have been sold. No, I'm not aware that those houses are sold or transferred.
Which houses?
The houses that I was talking about. Not aware of that.
Okay.
No, you will, if you are making 500 houses, 450 houses, there clearly will be 5 or 10
cases.
So again, exception versus norm is very important. Like the houses in Belmopan was built, there were no fences. The government, like when you see those, like Belmopan looked like a wasteland in 1970, but the vision was there and the plan was there, and people began to build their own fences, etc., etc., etc. But so
fences more money. I mean, you have to. You have to be realistic, right?
You have to build your own fence.
Come on, I can see through that. But Louis, that piece of legislation obviously concerns me, concerns you, concerns a lot of right-thinking Belizeans.
Because it does not. So imagine a family bill without a definition of family.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I will not cast aspersions. I will not say like that. Well, you can't have a family bill without defining family, because the best place for a child to be is where?
Nuclear family.
In a nuclear family.
You have to specify these days, you know.
In their natural family.
Natural
right?
family.
Natural family.
Yeah.
So like that's it. That's if you have the target and the target have different spaces, we know where the child is safest.
That's right.
And the purpose of government is to ensure the safety of that child in that space.
Right.
Because every time we drop further and further out of that space, the child is less safe.
That's right.
The potential. So we start with the nuclear family, then we go to the extended family.
Yeah.
So granny and grandpa, auntie, uncle, that's where it is. And the law needs to lock that down.
Yeah.
It needs to lock that down. No, there are times when nuclear family, there are fathers that molest their children, there are extenuating circumstances where that nuclear family becomes very toxic for whatever reason. And then we have to define what toxic is, right?
Yes.
Because in other parts of the world, if your child wants transition and you don't make a transition, the government call that toxic and they try to move the picnic from under your care.
Yeah.
So we have to watch it.
Of course.
We have to watch it. Because that word then, a toxic situation, if I'm using the word toxic, I will use the word toxic.
Yeah.
You have to define what toxic is and what toxic is not.
That's right. You have to. Because you pass the law.
You see,
You know?
so
Louis, I remember a case where this young man, we were in a time of openness, brokenness, and he came forward and he talked about, you know, other people had shared about childhood traumatic experience with being molested, right? And he came forward and he shared and he said, you see me? I have already killed people. And he said, you know why I kill? Because I'm angry. Because a family member molested me when I was very young. And I became angry. He said, this is the root cause of my actions today, that I have been involved in gang activity and I've actually killed people. And we want to be able to connect the dots for people to see that when you open that space, you don't know how that individual will react.
that's right.
The victim, the child, the legal way we want to make the 21-year-old young man adapt. Right? And bring her in the house. You can't tell the effect, the impact that will have on society. Some of you saying guys where they clap and they want to say nothing about the bill, you and your child might be a target of being murdered because here is an angry person now who rose up in society because they never felt protected by the state, by the family, by nobody. They're angry and they turn around and kill somebody for you, or harm somebody, or molest back somebody for you. You understand?
On Sunday, I was telling my church that right now the government is building a road between Dangriga and Independence.
Yeah.
Right? They're building a road right now. We the wheel about Mapan.
Yeah.
But there's a road being built that we will one day travel on.
That's right.
Right? So we could be busy here, but there's a road being built.
Yeah.
And if that road is built well, whenever we go down south, we will ride on a safe road.
That's right.
So even though we are here, and we might say that no, my business, it will one day be your business, just like what you say. I said, because one day, and if the road is poorly built, corruption, make instead of the road be this wide, the road is now this wide, etc., etc., etc. One of these days, we will ride that road, and somebody is going to get killed, hurt, injured, maimed.
Yeah.
So we have to be on top of legislation, because every legislation is the building of a road.
That's right.
It's the building of a road. When you go wrong and they drive wrong and they do different things, but there is a group of people that are there making legislation that will one day affect you. Exactly what you are saying. The crime situation that we see, you are linking it to fatherlessness.
That's right.
Because when the father is in the home, there is protection of the family.
Yeah.
When there is a single family issue, let's say a single mother, that single mother will have boyfriends, she's looking for a husband, and nobody, and they take that away from her, and they take that away, And so many times strange men are coming into that home. And what Scott was pointing out yesterday, that in homosexual situations, you are looking at a person, the average LGBTQIA person, having between 40 and 70 different partners. So that child now in that single family, and primarily a LGBTQIA single family, that child is being exposed to so many different people coming
perversion.
Exactly. So yes, I don't care what you say. You can call us bigots and you can call all the names that you want, but the reality of the matter is that if the average heterosexual male has 3 or 4 heterosexual male has 3 or 4 partners, and a homosexual male has 40 to 70 partners, like, that's a problem for the child. I don't care how open-minded you are.
Yeah.
The child is not to be placed in any situation where there is the increased potential for child harm.
Exactly.
So the child should never be the milepost for LGBTQIA to say we have arrived because we can now. So the single person ability to adapt 21 and up is a problem. I believe it should be a relative. Single, it should be a relative. Otherwise, there should be a wife or a husband in that home. So it's like those arrows. So that if this can happen, then maybe here. If this can happen, then maybe here. And it can't just be a policy, it needs to be legislated. Yeah. We cannot just say, oh, well, the judges understand that because they have a tradition of whatever. Me not trust judges.
Exactly.
Me not trust judges. Sorry to put it that way. Yeah. They're great judges out there, excellent judges. And then there are also exceptions to the rule.
You have someone apart the LGBTQIAP community who have an agenda.
Yeah.
And the agenda is to get after these children and molest them. And when they talk, the news, they show it. You know the stories, people confess their things. How many persons in our society who has been traumatized, or probably today deal with anxiety issues, depression, because they were molested some time ago in their past. They can't function at work, they can't function even in a relationship. They can't function because that thing is there like it's like they're carrying a yoke around their necks. And then how can we, Louis, pass legislation? We don't understand the people hurt or their pain. And you see the tricky thing about it, Louis, is that people who have gone through those things, they don't want to come forward. Obviously, because the shame factor and all of that, people have to deal with so much. I believe, Louis, that as a society, we have to say something when we see that kind of legislations, right? They've been passed because it's very serious. It's concerning.
Yeah, and I'm glad. I gotta say, I am glad that by the time the second group got into the committee meeting, the first group that went in had laid a powerful foundation to the point where, I don't know what they say, but the committee members themselves said, like, this is an important legislation. We need to make sure we get it right. Kerm, I am a senator. Me never talk. I went in along with my Council of Churches and Evangelical Association when they went in to make their presentations. But I can say I appreciate the environment in that room, the way they listened, the way they asked questions, the way every person was respected, whether they were speaking individually. I was impressed. I have been to many different committee meetings.
Hostile.
Yes, and I want to say yesterday was different.
Awesome.
I want to go on record. I don't know if I have to say that or not say that.
No, you should say it. It's important.
But I just want to say
Well, Caleb,
Right.
let's go and get upset with you if you say that. 'Cause I'm
Well-
sure he support the bill.
Well,
I'm sure he support the
well,
bill.
you can't I'm not going there. Here is it.
That Caleb Bill Lewis. Caleb loves that bill.
I want to read. Leader of the opposition,
I'll be,
Tracy Panton was there. I'm not going there.
I'll be devil advocate this one.
I'm not going there. Yet. Leader of the opposition, Tracy Panton was there.
Was she open to the bill?
Why, she's very good.
Amen. Well, praise God.
She's very good.
Who else was there? Let me go get a list.
Wait. Let me talk about Tracy Panton. Let me talk about Honorable Tracy Panton.
All right, good.
One, she is a listener.
Oh, good.
Number one, she is a listener.
Yeah.
Number two, she is very bright.
Yes.
She is processing.
Yeah.
She's processing. Number three, she is not afraid or ashamed to share her positions or her questions where she is concerned.
Good.
One
Very
good
good.
marks, my brother.
Yeah.
One good marks. I want to say. I want to put that on record.
Good then.
Very good marks.
That's what we need.
That's why. Then Lee Mark Chang was there also for the United Democratic Party.
Yeah.
All right. And he's new like me. You know, we green. So we talk less, etc. But also for the government side, and I gotta say, Honorable Tracy Panton, Honorable Lee Mark was there. Honorable Michel Shebat.
Okay.
He found himself there yesterday because he probably belongs to another committee but was commissioned to be there again. And then he's a lawyer, a legal mind. So he was able to say, okay, well, this term here, see it defined properly here. So as you read this law here, look at this definition and then impose it. Is that okay now for you? Like those
good.
High marks. And then there was also from Orange Walk, we call her Monchi. Honorable Ramon Cervantes was there. Again, excellent, where he had
seems
questions.
to be a family man.
Yeah, absolutely. Where he had questions, I believe they were legitimate questions. And also the chair of the party was the representative Usher, Honorable Usher,
Okay.
not Henry Usher, from Port Loyola, Gilroy.
Oh, okay.
He led. Like everybody had their opportunity to speak. That's why I say high marks.
Good.
I've been to many different committee meetings, and I want to say yesterday the atmosphere was different. They were listening. They gave guidance where they felt that the church may not have interpreted right, and then of course the church did its thing, etc. So I'm not going into the details of it because it's a committee meeting, but it's for the public because the public can come. But here is what Tracy Panton wrote, because I want to state what she said. She said, today was a marathon day at the National Assembly of Belize. I participated in 2 critical standing committees, the Finance and Economic Development Committee, because that is the committee that deals with the budget. So that was yesterday. And the Health and Human Services Development Committee. Health and Human Development Committee is the one that dealt with the families bill. So she participated in both. So my day began at 10 a.m. and concluded just after 8 p.m. with a short 10-minute break for lunch. So they put in a lot of work. All right. So you hear how long that gone. So the family, that they tell you already. Well, I can tell you that most of the time was the family bill. So let me say that. So they were listening. Were they listening?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Of course, a lot of time.
They went all the way through to 8 o'clock at night. So that's what you want from a committee.
Of course.
Right? It doesn't mean you will get everything, but did they hear? Did they listen? Did they document? Yes. Did they ask questions? Yes. Was it respectful? Blah, 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 blah. And I could go on. So he said, a solid 10 hours were dedicated to reviewing and discussing the proposed Families Bill 2025. The words of Honorable Tracy Panton. This landmark piece of legislation drew an unprecedented level of engagement from a diverse range of organizations that provided both written and oral submissions. I wish to acknowledge and thank the following organizations for their contribution. Haven House Belize. Haven House, our house for battered women.
Yeah.
So they said they were not consulted about the bill.
Yeah.
So
how we come up with this bill?
how you come up with this bill? Like, they should have been consulted before the bill gone to the National Assembly.
Course.
Right? Now, thankfully, as I said, the process requires that there be a committee meeting and Haven House. And each one of these organizations were asked either by Honorable Tracy Panton or by Minister Shabat or by I think those were the two who asked the question, one PUP, one UDP. Were you consulted before? Were you that question was constantly brought before them, and the answer was always
no.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Something of that magnitude.
Right. So that ministry from which that families bill comes from, if they had done genuine consultation, there would have been no need for a 10-hour
Committee meeting.
Right. 10 hours.
That's what being a public discussion.
Yeah.
We'll come out and do a consultation and people come forward and say, I know this is a concern about, how about that?
Explain to me why a Families Act you can't have public consultation. Explain. Because everybody got a family. Everybody know what
they're gonna leave by from Africa where they come in and I want him answer. Because they're trying to hide something. You know, it's good that now the nation they pay attention, Louis, and it's important for people to know that, like, you know. But then I'll be honest with you, right? I mean, we have an intelligent cabinet.
Like some of them people feel like we keep them back when we want to know in the bill.
Yeah, crazy. The cabinet.
When I said them people, I don't talk about the committee.
Yeah. Our cabinet very intelligent, and I want to ask the cabinet too, like because the sitting they say be a bad reflection on the cabinet. Is the cabinet now ask the questions too? I don't know if they do or they don't. Maybe they have their minutes. Yeah. But before you bring it to the House, because I'm sure it has to be discussed, I think, in cabinet, right? So, you know, ministers, guys, we have to ask the questions.
Ministers can't read them bills. They can't read.
They don't read them too.
They don't read them bills. They can't. Maybe the minister were in charge of the ministry, and maybe the Minister of State.
But how you want to vote yes or you don't read a bill?
Because the CEO that puts the bill at cabinet is going to have the highlights.
Just highlight.
Highlights, like this bill seeks to improve the life of the children. We have additional ways for adoption. With this, with that, with the other. I have not been in a cabinet meeting, not the fly on the wall, but they can't. It's 116, I think, page. Just that one bill, and then they introduce 5.
So the system is structured in such a way that they have loophole for things to slip through.
Yes, but you can't design it any other way.
Yeah. No. One thing I'm just saying. That's why it reached this point.
Let's look at a minister, right? A minister is also an area rep.
Yeah.
So he have a area rep responsibilities.
Hands full.
That's number one. Then number two, he has a ministry to run, and you have to run the ministry. And then there are legislations that are coming out of that ministry, which you have to take care of. So, in other time, I don't calculate it. I don't care what they say. Yeah. They can't read that. You can't read nobody else's bill.
Listen,
there has to be a trusting that.
Yeah. I trust you.
Yeah, I trust you, and you trust me.
Once I choose to love you.
And then the CEO comes and says, well, you know, this bill will strengthen children, more options for adoption, and everybody go, you know, like.
Sound good.
Yeah. Now, if somebody may give them one call and say, why I don't like the bill, they may be able to say in cabinet, well, you know, cabinet.
Nobody gets to see the bill before.
Right. So sometimes the bill go back. But sometimes the bill has the approval of
the House.
Of the cabinet. And when the bill has the approval of cabinet, where does it go? House? Then it goes to the House. Right?
So then you kind of set me up for approval anyways.
Exactly. Because that's our personality, that's our training, that's our background. Yeah. We are believers. Yes. So certain bills will automatically, I have to peruse.
Have to peruse that one there.
Have to peruse.
Because I need to know Because then the surprise comes now when the bill
Exactly.
is ready in the house.
Absolutely.
They're like, wait. I never approved.
Exactly.
But then now at that point now, you see, because of the structure with government, Louis.
Yeah.
What do those here do in the house now? The ayes have it. We vote yes.
Well, here is
What's the bill voted
here
on?
is the thing. No, you don't vote on because of the process.
Okay.
Remember, you have your first reading.
Oh, it was read. Yeah, you're right. It was read.
Right. Then it goes to
The committee.
committee.
That's right, it goes
So
to
now,
committee, yeah.
those members that sit on that committee, those are the ones that they're committee, Papa.
Yeah.
That they're committee.
Yeah.
So any bill will come there.
Yeah.
That your committee.
That's right.
You can't say, well, I never read. You see,
have to know the bill.
You have to know the bill.
Yeah.
You have to know the bill.
Yeah.
So I also believe that there should be no surprises. As a senator,
Yeah.
I want to say that. I want to say that it is not my intention, and I say it to myself, I say it for the church, I say it for myself. It is my intention that anytime I rise on an issue, it's not going to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Because I tell you about it.
Exactly.
I tell you.
You were warned.
Yeah, you are one.
Either in a committee meeting
I was
or
saying,
rise
if
and
we have a
shine.
problem with this thing or minister, whatever it is.
Yeah. Fix it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And give you time.
I have, yes.
If not-
and I told that to the church, I have no intention to rise, to just be rising on any and everything. Like the
Correct.
idea that we'll fix it, right?
So okay, not try and undermine the
I'm
government.
not interested.
It's collaboration.
Absolutely.
Healthy collaboration.
Yeah, so like
Exactly.
clarify this, fix
Yes,
this, send
correct.
this back, whatever it is.
And that's called, and now that one is the point I wanted to make, Louis.
Yeah.
Looking at the system, that's why a democracy matters. And it can't just be one committee or members of the House, because one true democracy is healthy when the people as citizens are actively engaged in the process.
Right.
Papa, you can't sit down in your house and expect me to fight all your battles. It will affect you too. It's going to affect you.
Yeah.
These bills are going to affect every Belizean. So we have to be aware, engage in the process of what's taking place, and know when we need to lend support.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, then you don't have you have what is called a deformed democracy.
Yeah.
Right? Where the government has said, all right, well, we just don't do it. Suppose the government say we don't do what we want. Oh, you're sitting ballot, oh, then this, but you're not engaged.
Yeah.
You're not engaged. When we look at the opposition right now, they have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But the opposition should not be the opposition of this country. There are the structure of government that we have makes room for other bodies. People like yourselves, like myself, talk shows, the media. You understand? There needs to be a healthy balance in power, that we don't just allow the government to self-destruct. Because that won't happen in Louis. You know, self-destruct, right? So you need those other elements to be properly engaged. I said last week, the teachers and we have they had a demonstration. I wasn't even in the country. It's good. Sometimes you need to have that. It's healthy.
We'll need to take a break.
Yeah.
Let's take a very short break and we'll be right back watching Rise and Shine on PlusTV. We'll continue the conversation right after the break. We'll be right back.
Land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize. Land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place we ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love it, sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love it, sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace.
In May, make Benny's your one-stop shop for appliances. We have Sankey refrigerators, stoves, microwaves, washers and dryers, freezers, smart TVs, and so much more for up to 19% off. Get amazing deals for mom and appliances all May long, and don't forget your B-Bucks whenever you make a purchase to be a part of our Homecation raffle to win $10,000 in December. Benny's, quality and savings.
This Saturday, get ready to fire it up down south. 6 grill warriors, 4 weekends, 1 national grill master. The heat is on as top contenders battle it out for $2,000 cash prize. Contestants will be judged on juiciness, presentation, and pure grilling power. But watch out, contestants can be voted off by their own rivals. Join us for food, fire, and fierce competition in Placencia, May 24th, 31st, and the grand finale, June 7th at Doyle Smoke Yard and Catering. Call 620-7147 or 600-2762 for more information. Grill Master Competition, who will reign supreme at the flames? Proudly sponsored by Grill Master, Beef Masters, Rustino's Imports, and PlusTV. Other sponsors include Tri Fitness Club, Alan Paradise Hotel.
We are here at Highland Estates today to deliver 50 newly constructed studio homes to well-deserving families.
We have to say great big thanks to the people and government of Taiwan. Ambassador, please convey our greatest appreciation. This wouldn't happen without you, without your government, without the former president being so inspired, being so impressed by Minister Julius's presentation at that bilateral meeting.
The provision of affordable housing is the shared commitment and the common policy priority of both our governments. Taiwan is therefore very honored and pleased to partner with the government of Belize to support such an important program.
I'd like to give thanks to the Republic of China. 50 starter homes, ma'am, Ambassador, was done with your government's contribution of approximately 3 million Belize dollars. In addition to that, MIDH came in with our resources and we did the clearing of the bush. We did the surveying and the filling of the lot of a cost of approximately $500,000. Then we worked in collaboration with the utility companies to get some discount, and we managed to bring the cost of bringing power and water here for a cost collaboratively of $500,000.
I'm glad for this and I really appreciate it.
This is for my children. This is something that I was like hoping for, longing for.
In 10 years, probably in 5 years, when you come back here, you're going to see it totally different. You're going to see some people that have added to their homes. You're going to see more homes being built. We, those that are being blessed and have the opportunities, we take these things for granted, but it's not. These are the things that really start to make people's lives better and give them a sense of purpose.
Pletz Home Builders is the largest house building company in Belize. Pletz combines the best skilled workers, high-grade materials, and the latest technology to produce the highest quality wooden residential structures. Request any size, color, and the home layout you want. Choose from hardwood or painted metal outer walls. Pletz can modify any of their existing house plans to your satisfaction, complete with all the installation services you need anywhere in the country, including ambergris Cree. They can also lift your house to your desired height up to 9 feet. From properly treated and cured lumber to quality sidings and floorings, let Pletz Home Builders give your home the finish you need. For prices or questions, call 823-0398 or go to www.pletzhomebuilders.com. Pletz Home Builders, we build to suit your needs.
Start the new year with big savings on your 2025 property taxes. From January 1st to March 31st, 2025, the Belize City Council is offering incredible property tax discounts that you won't want to miss. Prepay your annual property tax by January 31st, 2025 and enjoy 15% off. Pay by February 28th and you'll save 10%. And if you pay by March 31st, you'll still enjoy a 5% discount. But wait, there's more. Senior citizens can enjoy a fantastic 35% discount upon full payment of property taxes for the property they reside on all year round. Please note, these discounts are available only to property owners who are up to date with their accounts. As you take advantage of this discount, we kindly remind all property owners of your responsibility to visit City Hall or utilize our online platform to complete your payments and to ensure your contact information is accurately updated in our system. For more details on these incentives, visit our Belize City Council Facebook page or give us a call at 227-3073, extension 261 or 264. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
Every project starts with the right tools. At Builders Hardware, we got everything to get the job moving. Tools, paint, plumbing, electrical, garden, it's all here from construction start to finish. We're also offering a different kind of power tool. Order anytime, anywhere. Pick up in store or get it delivered to your home. Go to shopbuildersbz.com today and save money with our exclusive online deals. Builders Hardware, making it easier.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread me?
And we should be winding up, but we're not quite, almost close, but
Yeah.
not totally. But just before the break, Kerm, you're talking about the fact that white teachers need to go out on the streets, right? It's a
Yeah.
democracy.
Yes,
and
man.
every side has to be listened to and catered to so far as what the budgets can allow,
Yes.
etc. And if you sit down with the teachers union and you had made commitments in the past regarding increments, etc., those should have been fulfilled.
Yeah.
Now you can't say, well, they never win them in the last government or whatever, because there's just government.
That's right, you take over.
You take over, you take over.
It's a
You
part
take
of your
over the
inherit.
commitments
It's a
as
part
well.
of your inheritance. Okay, good inheritance or bad inheritance.
Exactly.
But Louis, I was saying it in the context that it's good. I'm happy when I say a country is flexing the democratic muscles. It's healthy for everybody. If you don't have a democracy, you have a dictatorship.
Right.
And that's dangerous. That's Putin. That's Ping. That's, you know, we need democracy in place. People, they complain. You don't want to be a murmurer, a complainer, but there has to be processes where you can disagree. You agree to disagree, and that should be healthy. And that's why I love what you said about the committee meeting, because it needs to be respectful. Not because I say that I don't like this bill, I think it's pro-LGBT, means I don't like you. I don't like the bill. You might have done 99% other things good. I support those things and I applaud you. We'll celebrate it. But that bill have a problem. And that's dangerous.
And sometimes, as was pointed out yesterday, it may not necessarily be a deliberate door that is open to LGBT, but because it is not written properly, it can be a door. So the church doesn't have to go in there and say, "Aha, I catch you." It's like we mean you catch me, you know? Let's fix the language.
That's right.
Which is what we want.
That's right.
Of course, we know that when the first gender policy came out 10 years or so ago, I think it was 2012. So wow, or something like that. You remember they had legalized prostitution in it, right?
So Kate Esquivel, I'll never forget. How can I forget that? A judge press center, she said that. A first lady said that. Louis, a first lady. Louis, I feel like, I don't know how I feel. Kate Esquivel said that.
First ladies are very powerful.
Yes.
They're the neck that swing the head.
Wow. Legalized prostitution. She have daughters.
Yeah.
Legalize what?
They see it as an
Loose
honorable.
hair raised by
yeah,
men. It's like,
honorable.
wow.
Yeah, like, and this is sexual exploitation at its worst.
Wow.
You know, so when we caught it in the gender policy,
yeah,
they said it was a mistake.
No.
It was an error.
I said that's
it
a
was,
lie.
Right?
That's a lie.
So and it wasn't the only thing, because euthanasia had come up before in that gender policy. Like everything was there, and we had to red flag them. And then some things they tried to argue, and then other things they just said, "Oh, that's an error." I don't know. I don't know how it got there.
How you want to write bill and they call bill error? Then you're dangerous.
Yeah. So
you represent a bill and you want to say it's an error?
Yeah. So,
or a policy.
so
Read
we
your
don't
policy.
consider those things to be an error when they're certain language,
Yeah.
but we're glad you admit that it's an error and you take it out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We'll take that.
So at the end of the day, right. So that's fine. So Haven House Belize was there for domestic violence. The Council of Churches was there. National Evangelical Association of Belize, and I'm reading directly from Leader of the Oppositions. Now, when last did you ever read a minister writing to the general public to say these are the people who came to a committee meeting?
First time he had
First time.
First time.
First time. It came from Honorable Tracy Panton, where she went to the public and she said, these people appeared before us on the family bill.
Yeah.
See, that's progress in democracy.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. High marks. High
Yeah.
marks. Gamas was there. BCAPS was there. Roman Catholic Constitution Commission was there. Laugh Out Loud. Boy, we don't even got time to tell you about Laugh Out Loud Ministry. They're out of Toledo District. They have an orphanage. They brought 3 girls.
Good.
And they were the first to go in.
Yeah.
And those girls told their stories to the committee. I don't know the
Praise God.
stories. I don't know the stories. I don't know the stories. We did a brief interview. It will be in the news tonight. But so by the time Laugh Out Loud with the children orphanage, by the time they came out and they left, the atmosphere in the committee room, they said it. Yeah. They said it. They were like, this legislation matters. Yeah. This legislation matters. Let us slow down and pay attention. So something happened in that room. I don't know what happened in that room, but I can only say whatever happened in that room, that was powerful for the committee, and I'm glad. Seed of Life, Marriage and Family Ministry, In the Gap Institute, the Diocesan Pastoral Life Commission of the Roman Catholic Church of Belize, all of those organizations.
The Roman Catholic Church is very powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very, very powerful.
Yeah. So you say the Roman Catholic Church has a theology that treads through time, 2,000 years.
Yeah.
That's well developed, well founded, well built scripturally, tradition, and everything else as it relates to natural law, the family, all of these particular issues that we can learn from. When the priest talk on these issues, me pull out my recorder and me pull out my notes. It's school time.
Yeah.
To learn.
Yeah.
We have to have these kinds of humility or attitude to be able to learn.
Be teachable.
These priests are well educated. They understand the issues.
Yeah.
Not just turn to 1 Peter chapter 3. I'm just saying, you know, some people might not like what I have to say, but
it's true.
It's not just like a 1 Peter chapter 3. It's
Paul
just
said, at your feet,
principle,
Peter.
Principle
at
upon
your
principle.
feet, virtue, knowledge.
Principle.
Line upon line. Here a little, there a little.
Father Scott with Father Scott there. Yeah. So there are 2 Scotts. There's Scott Sturm and there's a Father Scott, right? I mean, both of them I respect very highly. Very highly, you know. I record Father Scott. I tell her, listen, Father Scott, sometime when I left from Bemo to Belize, I played a recording so that I could understand, right? Because Father Scott, on next level alone, tell her, you need to come in, man. You need to come into PlusTV and explain some of these things to the people. But anyway, the Roman Catholic Church is well organized. Precept upon precept. It's not just passion. It's not just passion.
That's right.
There's information behind it.
That's right.
And many churches would do well to learn.
Yeah.
To sit and write some notes.
right.
We gotta write some notes. I'm gonna go into it any deeper than that. But it said, notably, the committee heard powerful personal testimonies from 2 young adult women who courageously shared their lived experiences with the child protection system. Interactions that spanned both government authorities and private residential care institutions. Their bravery and honesty were deeply moving and reminded us of why inclusive consultation is critical in shaping policy that truly serves its intended beneficiaries. The word of Tracy Panton.
You hear that?
You hear that?
Inclusive consultation.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things we've been seeing over and over.
Yeah.
And it needs to be on the table that maybe in past years or the history of this country where governments have led, people weren't paying as much attention to these legislations, house meetings, bills that are being presented in the National Assembly, that it's on its way to become laws, and senates that has been empowered to be able to send it back to the House. No, things are changing, and it's good because you need your democracy to be healthy. And that is when people are afraid for you as a government. I shouldn't fear my leader.
Absolutely.
I should. If my daughter fear me, I have a serious problem.
You have failed.
I have failed.
You have failed.
Miserably.
Yeah. Because then when she's in trouble, she won't come to you because
No.
afraid for where you are, say whatever.
Afraid.
Exactly.
I need to be her refuge. I need to be able to run to her. And that's how we train on leadership.
Yeah.
You talked about one of the attributes. A leader is a listener. Right? Because we all need, Louis, the buy-in from the people.
Of course.
You see, when you get buy-in, you are lead forever.
Yeah.
The people that support you.
When you have proper open consultations,
Oh,
you
man.
will end up with a robust
That's
legislation that will truly serve the people rather than special interests.
That's
When
right.
you decide who you will consult with and then you will lock out the church.
Yeah.
Who runs the most orphanages?
That's right.
It's the church.
Yeah.
Who are the most faster bit? I am a parent who adapt.
Yeah.
I adapt.
Yeah.
Look at Scott, how many people Scott faster. Look at Santi, how many people Santi faster.
Sometimes we get stabbed in our back, Louis.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah,
My
Louis.
father told me very much. So when you're prepared to help people, prepare to get hurt.
Louis, I get stabbed hard.
Yeah.
Louis, I get stabbed hard. And sometimes not even me adapt that because someone of my friend, maybe when I say name that way you call, adapt and through that entrance into my life and ram in my back. But like right now they're dealing with a major issue. And I want to ask people out there right now, if anybody can ask you for any money from me, don't give it to them. That not me the ask.
Yeah.
Don't give it to them. Me not ask them no money. I not raise no money. Then a man and I wake up 2:30, Lord, wake up me out of my bed and say, get up. I say, it's 2:30, Lord. Get up and pray over your name. Because I felt this burden, something, and they use the name wrongfully out there. And I start praying. I said, Lord, I pray over my name. Now what is going on? Next day, a lady come to me and say, come and solicit money in your name. Louis, so we get stabbed hard.
Yeah, but as I said, that's what my father. I remember him sitting with me and said, "Son, you know, you're going into ministry. You know, you're bringing people now into the home. Etc. He said, just boy, good advice.
Best advice.
But many are the foster parents and orphanages and so on. And who's at the top of Haven? Who is at the top of Marla's House of Hope? Who are these people? They're Christians.
Yeah.
You know, so how will you run from Christians when you are trying to put together a family?
The people that actually do the work.
Do the hard work.
We're supposed to collaborate with.
Yes.
And endorse what they do and support.
Look, Diana Shaw, Child Development Foundation, all of these things. Like you have to have an agenda if you are running from the people who are doing the hard work.
And look, you listen to Caleb Orozco.
I don't know.
What kind of work Caleb Orozco do for this country?
You can't have.
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
it was
you
just a
can't
question.
have people who are not interested in having families.
Man.
No have no interest in the betterment of the nuclear family.
If they're not betterment for
have no
themselves.
interest in proper protocols for marriage and so on. How they could write their land? They can't write their land, brother.
Destroy
I don't
Belize.
call no name.
Caleb, I'll call it. Caleb, can he bowl about it?
Let me tell you.
He open about it.
Let me tell you something.
He's
More
bold.
and more, Caleb Orozco is just a one-man show.
He remind me of P. Diddy, honestly, because
I think they call it like the center of the person, the main character.
Yeah.
You know, like so at the PCC,
Yeah.
there are 21, there are 42 people, they have 21 things, but you have one main character.
Main character.
Yeah, and you know, and so there
You
are
want to
little
trump everybody
groups and
else.
so on that facilitate him. Like some parts of the media, they're like main character, you know. So, but that's like a one-man name. He always say my community, I didn't want to say it, but he always say my community, and then he show up alone.
Yeah.
So most people just want to live in peace and have a peaceful existence.
Exactly.
They
And
are
we tell them-
well employed, they have health care, they have everything that they need, like ordinary Belizeans, and they're fine.
Louis, make us say it this way. I know a lot of people who are gay, who are homosexual people or lesbian. I know a lot of them are friends. And we are friends, and they live their life, they're for their business. I mean, a beat pan there and whatever. That's their personal life. But then when you try to change the legislations and try to tell you how to run a country because that's what you like and you want it this way, you're way out of order.
Yeah, telling
You're out
the
of
tail wants
order.
to wag the dog.
Wag the dog. You understand?
Not gonna happen.
Especially when I look at what happened.
Closing comments.
Oh, this is me close. Especially Louis. I pay keen attention to this case in the United States with P. Diddy.
Why P. Diddy?
I could never believe a man could have this kind of mentality and thoughts in their head. Then are the real people that are behind Caleb Orozco movement. Then are the people that push for make the LGBT thing spread. Right? Louis, 3 days standoff. I can't even fathom nothing in my mind. It's a high level of perversion.
What do you mean by 3 days standoff?
Stop, Louis. You want me to explain it?
Wait, is it G-rated? Is it G-rated version?
This is way past. This is triple X
3
rated.
days standoff.
3 days of sexual engagement non-stop.
Okay.
Where, as in his case, he have the girl, that he's his girlfriend or whatever it is, and he bringing these other men to have affair with her in front of him while he's masturbating in the corner of a room for 3 days, and he will just infuse her with drugs that because your body can't handle 3 days non-stop of that kind of activity. You understand? And then after that, they have to go on. I think they give them what is drips. They have to give them to rehydrate their body because the body can't cope with it.
So you have doctors there in the place giving them.
Well, he does it himself. They put it in drinks that these people use. This man is a pervert.
I thought I was following the P. Diddy case.
This man is a monster.
Yeah, but here is the thing.
Right?
He felt that he was safe because he felt that he was paying them money and that he had their consent and those types of craziness. But he will spend the rest of his life in jail.
Hopefully.
And he will spend the rest of his life in jail. Because when America come for you, America come
Look at what he did to Justin Bieber. Because when they talk about a girl, but this is not just girl. He does it to guys too.
Yeah.
He sleep with any man that come to the house. It's the same LGBT attitude and practices.
It absolutely is.
It is that thing that we're trying to tell this nation, be aware of. Because this is the extreme to which these people go.
And that's why I say, because some of these people here in Belize, some of this community, what they do is they bring young boys in and drunk them.
That's right.
Then the boys say yes, and then they
drug
think
them.
that is consent.
They drug them.
And the P. Diddy story is showing you that not every yes is a yes, because
right.
if drugs and alcohol are involved, then that person was not in their full state of mind.
That's right.
And I believe that will come and haunt some of these same so-called LGBTQIA activists, etc., who think that by validating the lifestyle and trying to legislate the lifestyle, that they will get off the hook. They won't get off the hook.
Yeah.
Because P. Did it happened for years.
Ooh,
but
years
the truth is that the truth will one day catch up on you. Anyway, we gotta wrap up, Belize. We gotta head out. It's 50 minutes after 8. 50 minutes after 8, at 10 to 9,
Yeah.
we gotta go. God bless you, Belize. See you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Belize, we gotta.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize,